Will and Jaden's relationship has always been extremely complex. And this is only one of the causes, according to recent reports. Apparently, Jaden can no longer bear to keep this a secret, as seen by his recent revelation. He also said a lot of startling things. You are aware of how Will and Jada Smith have consistently boasted about being the greatest parents in Hollywood, right? It appears that they may have exaggerated that a little. Yes, Jaden and Willow made a great pair. Jaden, though, claims that wasn't actually Will and Jada's fault. Furthermore, it seems that Jaden believes Will and Jada were not just incompetent parents but also cruel. This is where things become very crazy. Jaden is out there saying that Jada knows full well that Will sold him to Diddy. Jaden was allegedly over them and wanted to be freed at the age of 15 because of this. We ought to talk about Will and Jada's parenting style and how they almost destroyed their children's life. It is no longer possible to overlook this. To begin with, Will and Jada have spent years preaching to the globe about the same thing. To be honest, though, they haven't exactly been living up to their words. As long as it doesn't come back to bother them later, they've always maintained that they don't believe in punishment and would rather let Jaden and Willow do as they like. However, it appears that things did not turn out as planned. Will made the famous statement, "We don't do punishment," in a 2013 interview. We treat our children as though they are in charge of their own lives. Our idea is to offer kids as much influence over their lives as possible while they are still young. You can thus do anything you like when they act in that way, provided that you can justify it to me as the best course of action for your own life. That whole no punishment thing generated a lot of attention back then. Jaden was 15 and Willow was only 13. Furthermore, teens aren't exactly recognized for having the best judgment. Let's face it, many believe that Will and Jada were only winging it and giving their children much too much freedom at such an early age. And as we all know, such parenting doesn't work out well most of the time. The worst part is that Will may not have been telling the whole truth about their lack of discipline. Willow said she really got into a lot of trouble as a child, and that it gets juicier after spilling the tea herself. She asserted that she and Jaden were subject to a severe double standard. It seems that she had to deal with harsher punishment, and all because she was a female. She unleashed a barrage of bombshells on Jada's Red Table Talk, none other.
Difference between how black moms will treat their daughters and their sons.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, my goodness. Getting up at the right time. It would be like, you right, like, you better get up. To me, it'd be like, oh, no, school's about to be, you better get dressed, we need to get the, and it would be like, I'd be in my room like, okay, gotta get it. But then Jaden is there, she'd be like,
Now see, and Jaden would say the
are
different.
you ready to... And he'd be like, maybe one moment.
Jada has always advocated for women equality and empowerment, speaking up and being proud of her feminist views. However, it appears that a different narrative was unfolding behind the scenes, with Jaden receiving special treatment just because he was a boy. One can ask if Jaden's preferential treatment has a deeper meaning than we previously recognized, especially in light of the recent allegations that Will and Jada allegedly kid Jaden out to Diddy. If Willow was truly receiving punishment, it begs the question of whether Will and Jada were lying outright about their parenting approach. Certainly, it appears to be. Willow wouldn't have had to worry about facing the repercussions while Jaden got away with it if they really believed that their children should have the same freedom. To be honest, we had no idea that so much more was going on behind closed doors than we did. When Jaden remarked that Will and Jada weren't precisely the devoted parents they had represented, he wasn't entirely incorrect. Consider Willow's Whip My Hair phase. When Willow released that song in 2010 at the age of 9, she was living the dream of fame while other children her age were just daydreaming. However, there was a cost, and at such a young age, we were blind to the truth about her condition. Willow was coerced into performing the song by her father Will, despite her initial reluctance. Not even out of elementary school, she didn't want to face with the hardships and pressures of being a singer since she felt that she was still too young. When she told her father about it, he basically urged her to go get over herself and go to the studios.
definitely had to forgive you and Daddy, you know, for that whole with my hair thing. It was mostly Daddy, because he was so, like, harsh at certain times. Like, trying to regain trust for not feeling like I wasn't listened to or no one cared what I felt during that time.
Even though Willow's more measured approach made perfect sense, it appears that Will was more concerned with pressing his own goals onto his child star of a daughter. This merely compounds the duplicity. It's not exactly in line with the entire letting them do their own thing attitude they've always preached, to force a 9-year-old into the music industry after all. And it's all said in the aftermath. Following the release of Whip My Hair, Willow experienced mental health issues. She has been transparent in recent years about experiencing an identity crisis as a result of the abrupt, unexpected celebrity that was bestowed upon her at such a young age. It's obvious that the strain had a negative effect. I was kind of just circling around the question, who am I? Do I have a purpose? Is there one? Apart from this, is there anything more I can do? When Willow's career was further restricted by Will, despite her clear resistance, and she was made to embark on a month-long tour with Justin Bieber, things became even more dire.
I was kind of like just in this gray area of like, who am I? Like, is there, like, do I have a purpose? Like, is there anything like that I can do besides this?
It is distressing to consider that Willow's mental health was utterly neglected in favor of Will's obsession with fame and money. Having grown up in the spotlight himself, and knowing the toll it can take on a youngster, he of all people should have known better. In subsequent interviews, Willow bravely disclosed the ways in which her mental health was severely impacted by the demands of celebrity and a dearth of parental support. As things got worse, she started self-harming as a coping mechanism for her depression. It's such a terrible fact that someone so young has to go through that kind of mental anguish. Fortunately, Willow overcame her melancholy and learned how to handle celebrity without compromising her mental health after years of therapy. Because she connects Smith to the suffering and tragedy of her early years, she even chose to renounce her last name and go by Willow. However, Willow wasn't the only Smith family member who experienced the strain of strict parenting. Jaden also had personal challenges. In 2010, the Karate Kid gave him his big break. However, similar to Willow, he wasn't prepared to enter Hollywood at such a young age. Honestly, who was to blame for him? He was just 11 years old. He was prodded into the spotlight by Will and Jada in spite of his reservations. Jaden eventually settled into a routine on the set and began to relish the attention that accompanied the film's success. It was also not exactly on his terms. Despite his eventual enjoyment of the limelight, Jaden does not believe he can forgive his parents for ignoring his desires. According to sources, Jaden actually felt like he was being taken advantage of and lost faith in Will and Jada as a result of their apparent betrayal. He became so resentful of them that, at the age of 15, he requested to be freed from them. Insiders claimed at the time that Jaden was eager to become 18 and be free from his parents. Desperate to live life on his terms and get away from what he perceived as his parents' harsh and strange control, he was prepared to walk away as soon as possible. Jaden has previously criticized Will for being overly preoccupied with managing his children's careers at a time when they should have been enjoying their childhoods, and said that this was absurd. The Smiths were just thinking about themselves and didn't know how much they were harming their own kids because it's not like they were in need of money. Jaguar Wright revealed even more shocking information in a recent interview, saying that although Willow endured hardships from her parents, Jaden had far worse circumstances. It was also more than just the embarrassment he felt from the entire entanglement situation. The underlying problem, according to Jaguar, was that Diddy and Will were purportedly in a DL relationship. Even worse, they are said to have done horrible things to Jaden. She blasted Will and Jada in a recent interview for supposedly selling Jaden to Diddy.
Another thing that, of course, you spoke on last time was, and at the time it happened, was a slap by Will Smith to Chris Rock. We spoke on it. But since then, Jada Pinkett has written a book where she reveals that multiple times she tried to commit suicide.
Yeah.
Not saying exactly what the reason was.
I don't know why she keeps trying. She just get it done. Don't be bad at everything.
Yeah.
You was an all right actress. You was a terrible wife. You was a bad mother. You was a kid who knew that your husband was doing things to boys and did stuff to your son, and you ain't do shit about it.
Because of this, Heat Jaguar further asserted that Jada's involvement with August Alsina was an attempt to subjugate Will. Cena, she all gets out. Oh my God, that's crazy. However, for a time now, there have been speculations that Will and Diddy are somewhat involved. Additionally, Diddy was revealed by his former bodyguard to be gay and to have had intimate relations with another rapper, whose name the bodyguard withheld as well.
Puff and this artist run out the room naked. And the artist said, "You ain't want to come up in there? It was a lot of freaky going on."
For those who may not be aware, Will was not always a well-known actor. Not only was he a rapper, but a very good one. Having won 4 Grammy Awards in the rap category, he has the qualifications to support his reputation. Thus, many of us couldn't help but think of Will when Diddy's ex-bodyguard hinted that Diddy was getting close to a rapper. All those pieces seemed to fit together at once, and it was obvious that there might be more to their relationship than we had previously thought. Will and Diddy's friendship may even account for Diddy's early intervention to mediate the situation following Will's slap of Chris Rock at the 2022 Oscars. It seems as though Diddy was taking on the role of peacemaker, and perhaps he was more than simply a fellow star in that role. And Chris, at the Gold celebration, we're going to solve that like family.
And Chris, we're gonna solve that like family at the Gold party, okay? But right now we're moving on with love. Everybody make some noise.
It becomes difficult to ignore the circulating tales about Will and Diddy as you begin to make connections. It truly raises the question of whether their bond is deeper than we've been told. Now, I understand that some may counter that Will's marriage to Jada makes it impossible for him to be leading a second life. Let's take a moment, though, to reevaluate that. Yes, their marriage is among the longest in Hollywood history. To be honest, though, their relationship is everything but idyllic. The tumultuous August Alsina situation was followed by things truly starting to fall apart. Recall how August revealed that Will had given him permission to pursue Jada romantically? That changed everything drastically and was undoubtedly a game changer.
I actually sat down with Will and had a conversation. He gave me his blessing, and I totally gave myself to that relationship for years of my life.
Jaguar asserted that Diddy and Will had utilized other people besides Jaden, saying that they had mentored younger men in the industry, but that this had all been a front for them to take advantage of the young boys. In addition, young men have screamed to leave their home in order to avoid them and their mentoring. Being Jaguar, he didn't mind calling people out.
Meek Mills. Bashir Gray. Left that house screaming. August the only one that stayed, and I guess he was really sick. He needed a dog.
It's absolutely crazy because there have even been some very severe allegations that he pushed himself on younger males. A few months back, Willow, Will's bodyguard and erstwhile friend, revealed some shocking information regarding rumors that Will and Dwayne Martin were getting intimate. Since their initial encounter on the set of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in the 1990s, there have been rumors that Will and Dwayne are more than just buddies. Dwayne even got along well with Will's ex-wife, Cherry Zampino, and they had a very close friendship. Paradoxically, Will's future wife, Jada Pinkett, was introduced to him by Dwayne and his wife, Tisha Campbell. Everything is connected in a way that begs the question of how profound the relationships and secrets are. This is where things become pretty complicated. Dwayne apparently disregarded the limits of their marriage while Will and Sherry were still wed, and it's possible that he even contributed to their breakup. There are many who conjecture that Dwayne put Will up with Jada as a handy cover story so he could have Will all to himself. And it gets even more complicated from there. Dwayne has frequently been accused of causing strife in other people's marriages. Actress Lisa Ray once accused him of being involved in her own marriage's breakdown. She claims that Dwayne has a tendency of bringing married men to other women, completely ruining their relationships in the process. In an interview, she revealed all the beans, accusing Dwayne of stealing her husband and causing her divorce.